Quick vid, people, Deluded, I'm back again. YouTube's Lucas Torreira and all of them things. Now, it's still very, well, it's not very early. It's still very early in a lot of the new signings, Arsenal's players' careers, their playing careers. They've just signed for the club and been here less than a year. Just talking about the summer signings. We can probably talk about Premier League signings and Arsenal signings and whatever club you support signings of the season. Obviously, a lot can change, a lot can sway, but in regards to now, at least in April, prior to us playing Everton and any other games, I thought I might as well offer my thoughts, man. Now, last summer, people might have seen Arsenal's targets as a bit underwhelming because obviously we haven't got as well. We're told we haven't got as much money. We seem to appear to be under a bit of austerity measures and doing things a bit differently on the face of. I know United are not where they normally are as a football club, but they've still got unlimited purse strings. I know they only signed Fred for 50 odd million in the summer, but you get the point. City obviously have money again, you get the point. Liverpool out there splashing, you get the point. So against the dynamic of what other clubs can do, we're having to be a bit smarter, a bit frugal, a bit more strategic in our signings. And that was very much what it looked in the summer. You identified Leno, someone who was cut price, someone with scope to improve, someone that identifies what Unai would like in a modern day keeper and playing out from the back. Sokratis, for me included, it was nothing to do with the player because you could see last season he's a decent defender, but underwhelming in the sense of when we're thinking of centre half targets or whatnot, we was looking for someone mid-20s and borderline world class. And Sokratis has been a big boy signing, but at the time I could see that he'd be a good player and stuff, but I didn't feel he would rise to this sort of level. I still believe that, if you're honest, he's a third choice centre half at best, but he's doing his thing, man, and he is one of the top centre halves at the club and one of the first names in the team sheet. So he came very shrewd signing, under the radar, year or so left on his deal. Utilised our good relations with Dortmund historically when you look at players like Rosicky and obviously Aubameyang recently. Obviously, he's a German speaker, so when he plays with Mustafi and Leno, the communication aspect can't be underrated. I'm assuming Kohler can speak German as well, but because of his time at Schalke. So obviously you want them to speak English and things, but in terms of confusing opponents and just communication and adapting off the field, another German speaker can help with a lot, man. And obviously he's experienced and he's got a very good mentality, man. I've been very impressed with Sokratis. He's quicker than deceivingly quick. Probably one of the quickest centre-halves in the Premier League, in my opinion. Very good defender. Hasn't been perfect, of course. At times he gets too tight and fouls people. But he's definitely one of the better defenders I've seen in recent years at Arsenal. I really no clue what he's doing, saying half the time when he's putting his hands up and doing all of this. I don't have a clue what you're doing, Sokratis, but I love it. Keep it up. I like his passion. I like how when you see Son diving and he's sticking it on him, or Kane, I like to see that they care in it. I'm not a fan of just mindless passionless, but I like that in it. And at Arsenal, we've missed a bit of that, so that's probably why I like Kohler, Xhaka, and him to a degree. Because they're not, you can tell they're not on getting badded up. They don't want people roughing up their shirts and taking them for mugs and that. So I feel Sokratis' mentality is different, and surprisingly, I'm surprised he wouldn't have been given the captaincy, but he is. When you're looking for leaders in that team, he is a captain of sorts, and he might even wear the armband next season. I feel whether he's here for 1 season, 2 seasons, or I know he's got an option of another year, I feel he's been a decent signing, man, and hopefully it keeps going on. Torreira, for me, has been a bad boy signing. Obviously, he's been suspended, not been able to play. Had periods where he's kind of dropped off, but immediately you can see what he's given us and the level we can got given us. Very good player, man. Borderline. For me, he's a top player, man. Top class player. In a couple of years, I genuinely feel he's going to be world class, man. Obviously, a lot of Arsenal bias, but there's not many teams he can't walk into, in my opinion. In my humble opinion, I do think him and Guendouzi, it's sad, but it's good because I remember when Arsenal, we had players. We kept players, but we had players that were wanted by all the top teams in the world, and that's a bad thing because you don't want to see your players stolen and taken, but it's a good thing because it means you're doing something well in regards to coaching and scouting. For many years, I'm not too sure Arsenal could have said that is the case, innit? Torreira and Guendouzi, for me, they're going to be probably at the top clubs, the Bayern Munichs, the Madrids, the Barcelonas, these elite sort of clubs in the next few years, or PSG. I really am scared of that, or eventually. Hopefully they stay and stuff like that, but I do think them clubs there are going to circle for them. But Torreira's bossed it for me. Torreira's been quality, man. I don't know who's been the sign of the season. And Guendouzi, obviously, I don't know every player, but I believe results and things speak for themselves. You saw me speaking about Torreira and Guendouzi. I'm not the only one who knew about them. I was just documenting it. So clearly I knew what we was getting at. If you, not to big myself up, but if you go and listen to what I said in my first video about Guendouzi, word for word, and you look at him now, you'll say, oh, DG, you're right, it's spot on, like you see in the comments. I feel Guendouzi, he hasn't been perfect. Obviously, he's still got that youthful exuberance of holding on to the ball too long, relying on refs, and a couple other pet peeves I don't like in his game, innit? But he's a great player. Courage, the first thing. For a 19-year-old playing in Lorient, coming to Arsenal top 6 side, hasn't let it faze him, bossing games, even turning up in big games. Somewhat a permanent fixture in the team sheet. There's been periods where obviously he's taken out the side and he's kind of dropped back to being a bench role sort of thing because he is young. But there was a period he was playing game in, game out, and I feel he's played quite well. And if he can work very hard and refine his game and work on doing the correct things all of the time as you need to become a player, I think we've got a real quality lad in there. I really love Guendouzi. Passing range, dribbling, bravado. As much as I sometimes don't advocate him holding on to the ball, I like that he's brave and will hold on to the ball unnecessarily at times. So there's that. I don't think no disrespect Lichtsteiner, but I don't think anyone's going to say you're the signing of the season. So we've had some good signings, man. It depends what you class it as, man. I feel Leno, especially in the last couple of... Leno's been a good signing, but I don't feel when we're talking Arsenal-specific signings of the season, we were going to say him first, innit? We'll hail him up, but I don't feel we was going to say him first. I do think in the last month, March or so, last month or just over a month, he's really thrown his hat into the ring. So it's difficult, man. You can judge them all on different things. If you was to ask, well, it's off topic, but if you was to ask me player of the season, for me it'd probably be Lacazette, maybe Ramsey, but them specific signings of the season, my gut is Torreira, because I think he's a bloody good player and a bloody good signing and has been quality for us, if that's just my opinion. So my first bias is Torreira. I want to say Sokratis though. To be honest, I actually feel it's Sokratis to a degree, you know, because like I said, I would recognize he was a good defender, but he wasn't someone that I'm thinking, yeah, I'm galvanized, I'm ambitious moving into the season. And he's not proving anyone wrong because I believed in him, but he's exceeded expectations. He's playing quality, and I have a lot of confidence in Sokratis. And in regards to Arsenal centre halves, I haven't been able to say that for a while. So I probably think it's Sokratis in my opinion. You know, I think maybe in time it might be Leno. In fact, it's probably Torreira and Guendouzi because they're going to pay for themselves when they do move, and they're going to give us good seasons and stuff. So it is a difficult one. You could actually assume. You know what? I'll actually say I won't say our business in relation to other clubs is underrated because it's not, but I feel definitely when it comes to Arsenal and not giving and not giving credit where it's due, I feel fans, myself included, when the club's doing certain things you don't necessarily agree with, we're quick to comment. And I actually feel, obviously we knew we weren't going to sign big dogs in the summer, but it was a degree of underwhelmingness to a degree and kind of showed signs of things to come in terms of austerity. But I feel you got to praise the club where credit's due, man. I feel in hindsight, it's been some terrific business, man. You got a keeper with his best years to go. I don't know if Leno can ever reach the likes of... I know Alisson and Edison are still quite early in this football thing, but them lot, obviously, historically, you'd say the Neuers, the Czechs, the De Geas, the Buffons, the Cassiases. I don't know if he can get to that level, but he's an upgrade on Czech, or well, the current day Czech. He's obviously a ball playing keeper. It'd be a worry if he's centre half, and he's given Unai Emery what he wanted to see with that, and he's played some big saves. I still think he's got a long way to go, but he's shown that he can be that sort of keeper. You've got Torreira, immediately improves our midfield, and he's got best years in front of him. Guendouzi, young, unearthed gem, the same sort of logic. And then obviously you got Sokratis. I think these four players in particular are the signings of the season. We know Lichtsteiner's not in the debate. Shout out to him, but we know he's not in the debate. He was signed to complement the squad, be a squad player, and provide experience. So it's a tough one, man. For me, I'm gonna say Lucas Torreira, but I'm torn between Torreira and Sokratis. I actually feel when I remove my love for Torreira and all of them things, I think it might be Sokratis, you know, people, because he's upgraded our defence. If we can get a quality centre-half, Sokratis for the next year or two, whenever, because he is 31 and he might want to move on and experience things or might decline, but I feel a new centre-half, I keep saying the wrong positions, a new centre-half, Sokratis, obviously Mavropanos, Holding, and Monreal at least for the season ahead, and maybe Koscielny for the season ahead, because they're both contracted until 2020, unless they both want to go and seek new adventures because their careers are coming to an end. That would be our defensive options, and I feel collectively there will be some good options. Obviously, you got Bealey, you got Chambers, you got other guys we can sit and have a conversation with, but I just feel if we can Holding, God willing, he makes a full recovery with no complications. I feel him, Sokratis, and a top centre half. Those three would be my core sort of options as well. Obviously, I'm a big Mavropanos fan. Keen to see what happens with Mavropanos. There's a big chance he could go on loan. I think he'll play next season, but there's a big chance he goes on loan purely because this January he arrived, he was meant to go on loan. He didn't impress the coaching staff and Wenger, but really and truly didn't play that many games. This season he might have got a lot of football, but he's been injured, and since he's been fit, he hasn't been involved. He hasn't been named in the Europa League squad, and you barely see him on a match day squad. So maybe he's still got an injury issue. Maybe Unai Emery wants to see something before he brings him in. Maybe Unai Emery just deems the other centre halves are better options. We'll never know. But next season, I believe he needs to either be given not a lot of games, but being able to train with realistically starting in the Premier League at the weekend or whatever. If that's not the case, then if we can loan him to a Premier League side or a team in Germany so he can get some top level experience, because he is still quite inexperienced as well for all the good stuff he was doing in his homeland, and then come back the following season, which would be 2020-21, ready to become an option, then cool. But I do believe the core options at centre half, if we can marry together Sokratis, Holding, and a quality centre half, those three would be my core sort of guys. If we're playing three at the back, it's them, or they're just the options, to be honest with you. Ideally, I would like a left-sided centre-half. I don't really care for the sides and things, but I just feel if we could find a left-footed guy or someone that is better on the left-hand side or can excel on the left-hand side, it would help. Because I know Holding can play there, but he's not about. Koscielny can play there, but as he gets older, obviously, we're playing a dangerous game in that regards. But yeah, man, it's difficult. I'd love to know who you lot think is the sign of the season, so please comment. I am torn between Torreira and Sokratis, to be honest with you people. I want to bring up Guendouzi as well. Not sure he'd probably be the signing of the season. He has a claim. For me, it's a toss-up between Torreira and Sokratis. Sorry, it's probably a tie in my opinion because I've been very impressed with Sokratis, and I don't need to tell you what Torreira offers us or has been doing since he's come to the team. But it's a good that we're here saying this rather than negatively. Our signings have been underwhelming, which to a degree some may say that in regards to Arsenal's recent transfer policies of late, but not really Aubameyang and Lacazette. But you get the point. Got nothing more to say, man. I'm here 12 minutes too long, people. I'm here longer than I thought I'd be, but I always love to speak about football. On that note, I'm going to keep it moving, though. So, people, deluded, I'm out.